Hello, 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 my lovely ladies. I hope everyone is having a great day, morning, afternoon, whatever time it may be that you're watching this. Doing a quick car chronicle video today because I don't have a lot of time this week, but there is a topic that's been on my mind that I want to address with all of you. Again, I have said this before and I'll say it again, and I'm going to keep saying this until more of us ladies start to get this. But ladies, stop telling your personal, private business. Stop telling it to friends. Stop telling it to potential dates or suitors. Even if you're already dating someone, there's a limit to the amount of personal information you should share. Let me tell you where this is coming from once again. So I'm watching this dating show. The show itself is, okay, it's kind of ratchet. The host isn't, but the show itself is basically ratchet. Let's just call a thing a thing. However, I still like to watch it because there are so many lessons to be learned, so much that I can pull to share with you guys and teach you guys. Thus the catalyst, or one of the catalysts for my book, Dating with Class and Elegance. But also, I'm testing myself. I think I've gotten pretty good at identifying who is going to be a good match and who a particular person is going to pop their balloon on. So I'm testing myself as well and honing my own skills. But this comes because of that show. A guy asks a young lady, what is the biggest thing or the most significant thing you've done for an ex to make them feel special? And I immediately thought to myself, oh, honey, please don't answer that question. But of course she did. And then the guy ends up popping on her because he said, well, that's not grandiose enough. Well, first of all, it was none of his business. And ladies, ultimately it ended up getting her popped. Now, I don't think that was a quality guy to begin with. So I'm sorry about this. Let me try to adjust it. But anyway, not a quality guy to begin with. However, the point that I want to share with you and really emphasize is what you share about your past can keep you in a relationship, or more likely end up ending a dating situation. Because we have to understand this about men. And some guys would want to argue what I'm going to say and say, well, yeah, we are that way, but it's not for this reason. But basically, they are going to look and they're going to compare, and they are going to expect that whatever you have done for an ex, you do that plus for them. Because ultimately, they want bragging rights. They don't want another man to be able to one-up them in regards to somebody that they are dating or in a relationship with. Now, from our standpoint, ladies, we're going to say that's petty. It's silly, because they should be looking at who I am today, what I'm doing now, what I'm doing for them, and every relationship is different. And all those things may be true. The fact remains that they are the way they are. They think the way they think, and there's really not too much that we can do right now to change that. The point is understanding what it is, where it's coming from, and knowing how to navigate around it. So I'm going to say this again. Just because somebody asks you a question, that does not mean that you need to answer it. And particularly when it comes to your dating past, do not share that information. If you choose to share it at all, there's a time at which it can be shared. And that time is not before you've even begun dating somebody, just because they're asking. It's not right after the first few dates. It's not even after the first few months or whatever. Guys can be in a relationship already, and there still are certain things that you should not share. You can be married, and there's still going to be some things that you probably should not share. There is a point at which a man is ready to hear and can accept some of the things that you may have in your past, and that will be if and when he truly, fully, wholeheartedly loves you. But when you guys are just meeting and talking for the very first time, this man doesn't know you. And he's, of course, going to judge you on whatever you say or do. So the things you tell him, if you tell him something that ends up getting you eliminated from him, that's basically your own fault. At the same time, a lot of these guys out here, ladies, I understand, it is tough. There are still a lot of quality men, but ooh, man, you have to go past a lot of frogs just to get to that prince. I get it. So what I'm trying to do here is arm you with some information and some strategy so that you can go about it intentionally and give yourself a greater likelihood for having a better outcome. And when it comes to telling people about your past and talking about your personal business, and actually let me give you one more example before I get into this next point that I want to make. There were a couple of young ladies on this particular show who chose to share that they had fertility issues. Now, I know it comes up and people are asking, well, do you have kids? Do you want kids? That type of thing. Okay, so it's perfectly fine to say whether or not you have kids and whether or not you want kids, but you should not be sharing anything about your personal medical information. The government has what's called HIPAA laws in place, and that is to protect your medical information so that you cannot be discriminated against because of your medical history for most jobs and in most situations, but it's for your personal protection. So with that in mind, when it comes to those who like to share a lot, I know we live in a society where there's so much reality TV and people are putting themselves and their lives, or a facade of themselves and their lives, on social media. But think about this. Would you, if you're standing in line at, say, a grocery store, or maybe you're shopping and buying clothes and you're standing in line waiting to pay, would you start telling any and everyone next to you about your dating history, how many people you've slept with, things you've done for an ex, or your fertility issues? I think most of us would answer that question no. You're not going to just tell a perfect stranger standing next to you all of your personal information. But think about it this way. When you go on social media platforms and you share that information, you're telling not just one stranger, you're telling the whole world full of strangers your personal information. And your potential husband might see that, and it's over before it ever begins, because you've been eliminated because you've shared some information that they don't agree with, or just even the way that it looks. It does not show good judgment and discretion when you are sharing personal, private information. That should be only for the people who are very close to you, and even then, there's some things that you should just keep to yourself. So ladies, I want to, again, I'm going to keep saying this. I know I sound like a broken record, and I've gotten used to that. Sometimes it gets annoying, but then I remember my purpose and my intent, and so I'm going to keep sounding like a broken record until this gets through to more of you. Stop telling these men your business. They don't need to know how many exes you've had. They really don't need to know how many people you have slept with. They don't need to know about your medical conditions in regards to fertility. There are some things you should disclose, and I'm going to get to that in just a moment. But they don't need to know what you and an ex have done. That is not their business. When you guys first meet, your business is getting to know one another, evaluating one another to see if this can go somewhere, and to see if your personalities are compatible. You're really just trying to find out who this person really is, and you shoot yourself in the foot by not even giving yourself an opportunity to truly do that when you're doing this, running your mouth. You're talking too much. You need to do less talking and more listening. So on that question that guy asked on the show, what's something you've done for an ex, the most significant thing you've done for an ex to make them feel good, I would not have answered that question. I would have turned it around on him. I would have asked him what he did, or I would have said something to the effect of, that's really personal information and I'll be willing to share that with you at another time, but I'm not going to share what an ex and I have done with the entire watching world. And I think anybody with some sense is going to understand that. Now, you're going to have the people that are going to say, oh, it must have been something pretty bad if she doesn't want to share. And you can't help that. It's not your responsibility to manage the perceptions of everybody in the public. It is your responsibility to protect yourself and to exude the best version, well, not just exude, but to become and also, therefore, exude the best version of yourself that you possibly can. So when should you actually start disclosing some of those more personal, private things? A lot of people don't do this, but it is important before you actually enter into a relationship. So, okay, you've been going out for some dates for a while. You decide that you like each other. You want to become monogamous and enter a monogamous, exclusive relationship with one another. Before you actually agree to go into that relationship, that is when the two of you should actually sit down and have a conversation. If you haven't already touched on the subject of what your deal breakers are, but that's when you should be having the conversation to make sure that you get it all out on the table and that neither one of you has any deal breakers that's going to cause a problem should you go into a relationship in the future. So that's the point at which you disclose a little bit more information, but you disclose around those deal breakers. Once again, don't go into everything in your past. That's still not their business. You still don't know this person. You're still getting to know them. It really takes years upon years to really, truly, thoroughly get to know a person. So you've got to develop some restraint with the amount that you share about yourselves, because you guys are arming these men with information and they will use it against you. I said this and I said this before. I'll keep saying this as well. It's like you're being Mirandized without them actually Mirandizing you. They're doing it mentally, but they're not going to tell you. But basically, whatever you say can and it will be used against you. Do understand that there is a particular type of guy out there, or man, and most of them are this type of man. They will use what you share with them against you unless they are truly completely healed, emotionally, mentally, spiritually mature men. And from watching these shows, a lot of them are popping and disqualifying themselves at the first mention of God or church and Jesus. It's a very unholy world out there, and you just have to understand that. So I hope this helps. I'm sure I will have to say this again, but my goal is to help you guys, arm you with a lot of this information I didn't know myself, but I had someone who loves me share with me, and I've done a lot of work and observation, and I want to share my knowledge with you. This comes from a place where I just truly want to help you ladies. I want to see you guys win, and right now men have the upper hand, and a lot of you out there in the dating pool, you're not helping yourselves. You're continuing to help them to work against you. So I want to help you flip that dynamic so that you have the power and agency over yourselves, and that you're not unknowingly, unconsciously giving it away. So if you'd like more information, visit my website and pick up my book, Dating with Class and Elegance. I do go over this topic, but I go over so much more information, a lot of the information you're not going to see on these social media channels. Even a lot of the men that are in a good place and really wanting to help women, they're sharing quite a bit of the advice that's in my book, but not all of it. There are still some things that are missing, and that's another reason why I decided to write the book. So I hope you drop by my website, alwaysclassyelegant.org. Click on the ACE store and purchase your copy. It's a downloadable ebook, well, really a workbook, because I encourage you at certain points to take a pause from reading and write down your responses to that content. Write down any things that you need to work on, or how you will respond to certain things, what your boundaries are. And I encourage you to really get solid on your boundaries and not sharing too much information, or let me say, not oversharing of personal information should absolutely be one of your values. So go to the website and check out that book, and check out my playlist on YouTube. I created a playlist for Dating with Class and Elegance. Another thing I'll share with you is, as I continue to learn more about psychology and even physical health and safety, I learn more and more that etiquette principles not only apply to helping you to become a more well-mannered individual. It's not about just being proper, although that's a great thing, and that's something that will help you to stand out from the crowd. But there's also a lot of additional benefits from applying etiquette, such as your posture can affect your physical safety. I mean, when you're walking with good posture and confidence, you are a lot less likely to be targeted and victimized by someone who's, say, in a parking lot just looking for a victim that's not paying attention. When you do things like maintain good posture, you are helping your brain to feel more alert and more awake, and you're helping your breathing and circulation. Whereas if you're slumped over and you're already feeling tired and draggy, that slouching is just going to make you feel more tired and draggy. It's got an effect on depression, whether or not you feel more or less depressed. So there's a plethora of things that are beneficial to learning and applying etiquette, and that's one of the reasons why I love the topic so much. There's just always something to learn, some new nuggets, and I just find it fascinating. So if you would like to learn more about etiquette, and it's not just how to stand, how to walk, but you know, how to properly use your utensils when dining, social graces, like how to properly shake hands or greet someone. There's so much to it, but if you'd like to learn more about etiquette as well, please visit my website, alwaysclassyelegant.org, and then also check out my other videos here on YouTube. And I hope this helps you. I'll be back with more content or another video in a few days. However, I've got a lot of events going on this weekend, so I'm probably not going to be able to record the next video that I initially had in mind until sometime next week. But this topic has really, ever since I heard that question, it's just been grating my nerves, and so I wanted to take a moment to do a brief video to share with you on that, so you get the car chronicles. So I hope this helps, ladies. Always keep it classy and elegant, and have a great day. We'll see you soon. Take care. Goodbye.